Welcome to Hard Talk. I'm Stephen Sacker. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's dominance of Indian politics is unquestioned. His ability to deliver competent government in a crisis, well, that's less certain. India now has the second highest official number of COVID infections in the world. The real figure is thought to be up to 10 times higher. The economy is in big trouble too. My guest is a national spokesman for the ruling BJP, Narendra Taneja. Maybe Mr. Modi's populist strongman act is about to come unstuck. Narendra Taneja in Delhi, welcome to Hard Talk.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Mr. Taneja, would you accept that over the past 7 months, the Modi government's attempts to control the coronavirus pandemic in your country have not succeeded?
Not succeeded? Oh, well, I think if you look at our record, in terms of, coronavirus patients per million, and at the same time overall numbers. Right now as we speak, the number of cases, active cases, coronavirus active cases in India is about 960,000. That's less than a million in a country of 1.36 billion people. So I don't know what basis, you're saying is not successful. If you look across the country and look at the, economic, social, cultural life of the country, is life almost more or less back to normal. Economic activities are back to normal, and you have to go by the cold numbers given by doctors and scientists. The number is total number of cases a little over 6 million, but active cases actually less than 1 million. So it depends how you want to look at it. The way I look at it, I think it's a very good record on the part of both the federal government of India and also various state governments, because health is a state subject in India under the constitution, as you know.
Yeah, Mr. Taneja, I think you have a reputation in India as being a bit of a technocrat. You just said to me you have to go with the numbers, follow the numbers. Isn't the fundamental problem in India that you have a healthcare system where the numbers are simply utterly unreliable?
I think it's a very serious statement, and I refuse to accept it. I think when it comes to number, you see, when it comes to coronavirus, you can't hide it. Wherever you are in the country, whether you are in a village, in a small town, or a big city like Delhi, you can't hide it. You have to go to the doctors. You can't hide it.
Well, let me stop you there.
We are using technology there.
Let me put to you something which suggests there is a profound problem with India's numbers. The Indian Council of Medical Research conducted an in-depth survey of 29,000 people across 700 villages, town and city wards. They found in this very detailed survey that 1 in 15 people above the age of 10 had antibodies for the coronavirus. Now, if that were mirrored, that kind of detailed, deep dive survey were mirrored across the country, that would mean that your total number of infections wasn't the 6 million, which your government officially recognizes, but would actually be over 60 million. That's the truth in the numbers.
No, not exactly. Yes, you want to call it a deep dive. It's not a deep dive. In a country of 1.36 billion, you surveyed 30,000 people or even 50,000 people. I won't call it a deep dive. That's not what I was taught in my school. The point here is that we have to go by numbers. We are using technology, and we are very good at when it comes to using technology for these things, based on technology, based on data available at the headquarters of the Indian government. Number is what I shared with you. And of course, they are independent agencies. They want to come out with their own numbers. It's up to you whether you want to buy them or not. I certainly don't. Most scientists don't. Most doctors don't.
No, Mr. Taneja, it's not up to me whether I buy them or not. It's about statistics and understanding statistics. Do you happen to know how many people per 100,000 in India are actually being tested for the virus per day? Do you happen to know that figure?
No, listen. You can't test every single Indian, 1.36 billion.
Answer the question. You're the national spokesman for the BJP. How many people per 100,000 on average are being tested for the virus per day?
Listen. I know where you basically want to, your point. I understand that. But the point here is that, you see, there are certain regions and zones. Total number is about 10. That's where we are focusing. And we have done the surveys there, including the surveys you are referring to. Also the area where there, for instance, we don't see any reason to go for any deep dive in terms of surveys. We know those areas.
No, Mr. Taneja, you're misunderstanding me. I'm not talking about surveys anymore. I'm talking about your people, the Indian people, getting tested for coronavirus. Let me give you the answer. It's just over 80. Just over 80 per 100,000. The figure in the United States is nearly 300. In the UK, it's over 300. Unless you do the testing, you have no idea how prevalent the virus is in your national population.
Let me answer it. We have done the testing. In some places, we are going for a kind of intense testing. In some areas, we have done testing in a slightly different way, but we have got the overall results. Because if in a community or in a society or in a condominium or in a village, there are some cases, we immediately go for, the intense testing in those areas and then reach to the conclusion. Overall, you see that what we are precisely trying to do is that you don't compare with the United States. There's a different political system. There's a different society. It's a developed country. In our country, we know precisely where to go, because when it comes to these tests, these are expensive tests, but at the same time, the government has made it clear money is not the problem. Wherever necessary, we are going and doing the testing. And therefore, the data that I shared with you, number of active cases is about 960,000 today. This is the scientific figures. This is the exact numbers. The numbers being given by other people, it's up to you whether you want to buy them. I don't.
All right. Do you think the Indian people have been impressed with the strategy pursued by the Modi government? We think of your draconian lockdown in March, and now in September, where we've seen thousands of new infections across your country, we see your government easing all restrictions across the board and saying that the economy must be a priority. Do you think the Indian people regard your strategy over 7 months as coherent?
Oh, absolutely, they do. That's precisely because in a democracy, unless you have the support of the people, you can't really move ahead. We have the support of the people. You are calling it draconian, it's up to you. The point is that at that given particular moment, there was the best alternative. That was taken, the decision was taken in the best interest of the health of the people. At that time, the most important thing was to protect the health of every single Indian. And that's precisely what we did. We put everything, every other consideration, at the moment on the other side, and we decided to focus on only one thing. Right. Now we are protecting their health. At the same time, we are also protecting their economy of every single individual. You can understand this is pandemic time. It's not that easy. And we are an emerging economy. We are not Switzerland or the United States. There are constraints and there are challenges. But given the constraints and the challenges, I think what we have managed to do, we have the full support, and we are getting a thumbs up from the ordinary people of the country.
Yeah, nobody would say, Mr. Taneja, nobody would say this is easy, and we've seen governments grappling with this around the world. I do appreciate that. But in India, is it fair to say that you have decided to prioritize the economy, and that in the end, coronavirus will run through India until your population has some sort of herd immunity? Is that what it's going to be?
No. You see, what we have prioritized, not the economy, the people and their well-being, overall well-being, their health, their economy at the same time. So that's what the priority. Priority is still the people of the country, the most important. But at the same time, they need money. They want to want to run their kitchen. They have their jobs to protect, so on and so forth. So that's a kind of approach that the government is following. It's a very holistic approach. On the one hand, making sure that taking care of their health, at the same time that taking care of their economic well-being. That's how it works. And the results are fantastic. You have to talk with the ordinary people. Talk with the ordinary people on the ground in the country, and then you will get to know the exact picture.
Well,
the people are satisfied with the efforts being put in by the government.
The results are
and also by various state governments.
The results, you say, are fantastic. I doubt that feeling is shared by the more than 100 million Indians who've lost their jobs as a result of the economic crisis over the last few months. And I just wonder what Indians make of this one simple fact. China, which is often compared to India in terms of economic management, China has restored growth, and in fact the IMF predicts that China will deliver overall growth for this year 2020 of roughly 1.2%. Now it looks, according to Moody's and others, that India, after a total economic meltdown in April and May, will see an overall contraction for this financial year of over 11%. Why the difference?
Well, good question. First of all, I'm surprised that coming from BBC, sitting in London, you are comparing India with China. You are comparing a democracy, a very vibrant democracy where everything is transparent, including data, with a dictatorship. You are quoting this figure. I don't buy these figures about China. You may. China we don't know about figures and data that comes out of China. We don't know what exactly the situation there. We all know the virus traveled from China, from China to Europe, from Europe to India. That's how it traveled. Now the question is what they've done, where the virus came from, what is happening inside China, what is happening with the economy, what's happening with the economy with the ordinary Chinese. We don't know. You seem to buy everything that Chinese government say, which is authoritarian government. I don't. I'm very proud of democracy. We might have our own, challenges, so and so forth. But this is therefore I will not compare. I will not compare a democratic society with an authoritarian society like China.
You want to do that? Please do that. You've carefully avoided addressing what India's done wrong.
No, I can answer that also.
I can answer that also. Hang on. What India has done wrong? Because according to the World Bank report that was issued in July, because of the impact of COVID-19 on your economy, around half of your population is, quote, at risk of slipping back into poverty due to income and job losses. That's extraordinary.
This figure, no, don't buy this figure. I don't buy this figure is bogus. Let me tell you one thing. The figure you're quoting in terms of contraction, you're quoting of the figures of month of April, May and June. That was the time when we imposed lockdown.
Yes,
that means the government basically decided to shut down.
I didn't even quote that figure, but our audience might be interested to know that that contraction, April to June, was roughly 24%. 24%. Yes, and you're telling me that your performance has been spectacular. It's been an enormous success.
It's policy-wise enormous success. Challenges are there for everybody to see. But when I said this figure, we took the decision, and that's why the contraction figure was what it was. But because everything we decided to shut down. Now that things are getting back to normal, let me share with you. Look at power consumption, a very important indicator. Power consumption is back to the normal, 100% the same figure. Which means industries have opened. The same goes for consumption of fuel. The same goes for consumption so many other things. When you look at the pictures now that we decided to open up, things are more or less getting back to normal. And you will see by end of this year, that is by Christmas time, that economic life in India is going to be back to normal almost. Which means the figure you are quoting, then you can compare with China and so on. Because we took the decision in the best interest of the people, because we have many challenges. We are a very vast country. Number of people live in India is more than the total population of Africa. So we know our country very well. We took the decision in the best interest of the people. There is no other country that you can compare with India, because our challenges, our constraints, our challenger constraints are so unique to our country. But still you can compare.
Yeah, problem is, Mr. Taneja, that your sort of boss, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has totally built his image in the country around delivering, quote unquote, the new India, a newly prosperous, efficient India, which he says will be a $5 trillion economy within, I think, 3 or 4 years, and a $10 trillion economy soon after that. All of that has gone.
Well, your view? Ask when we took our power in 2014, 67% Indians didn't have bank account. Now every single Indian has got bank account. Majority of people didn't have toilet. Every Indian household has a toilet now. Majority of people didn't have access to clean fuel. Today, every single household has access to clean fuel. Many thousands of villages have no electricity. Every single village has got. You think this is not India sitting in London? Up to you. Sitting in New Delhi and knowing my country very well, this is New India. We are in the process of making New India. It is all there for you. See, I invite you to come to Delhi. I personally take you and show you the New India, and you will be surprised.
I thank you for that, and I look forward to it, not least because some of the things you've just mentioned, like the tens of millions of new toilets, which is a very serious commitment.
Bank account.
Yeah, a commitment which Mr. Modi seems to have delivered on. The problem is that many of those toilets are simply not working because your water infrastructure is so poor. But let us not get stuck on that particular detail. I am interested to hear you say that overall you think the Indian people are very, very pleased with your government's performance. If that's the case, why is Mr. Modi and your government so keen to repress all signs of criticism?
Repress? Oh, come on. You see, the most influential newspaper in Delhi, where I'm sitting, is called the Hindustan Times. Please open the Hindustan Times of today, of yesterday, the day before yesterday, last month, the year before. They are very critical of our government, and they are the main newspaper in Delhi. The Telegraph, the most influential daily newspaper of Calcutta. Please open the Telegraph of today, e-paper. Show it to your viewers.
Yeah,
criticizing the government 24/7. There is in our constitution, the press freedom and liberty. These things are guaranteed by the constitution.
Well, that's an interesting.
Constitution is our Bible. That's our Bible. For our party, the Constitution is our Bible, is our Bhagavad Gita, is our Quran.
I don't know what your commitment to your Bible is, but at least 55 journalists have been imprisoned. Forgive me, not imprisoned, but have had official investigations opened up into them and their work since March. You've passed new legislation ensuring that every critical article has to then include a description of what the official government position is on every issue covered. You have also, if you look across the piece, you've closed down the Amnesty International operations inside your own country when they have been one of the most persistent critics of your human rights record. If you are a government that is confident of your record, why are you doing these things?
Let me answer. You see, first of all, Amnesty, they decided to close down the office. Your report is wrong. Your facts are wrong. Please correct your facts. Government of India didn't ask them to shut down the office. They decided to close down the office. There is a huge difference between the two.
If your bank accounts are frozen, it is very hard to see how you can continue operations, and you know it.
Listen, if you are doing something which is against the Indian law, and the competent authority takes the decision to close down your bank account, are we a banana republic? What do you think? There are laws in this country. If you have anything against, Amnesty can go to the Supreme Court of India, can go to any court in India, challenge the decision. They decided to shut down.
No, the truth, Mr. Taneja, is that Amnesty, and indeed other human rights groups, but let's focus on Amnesty, because they're the ones that, in the words of Amnesty's senior director, Rajat Khosla in Delhi, he said, "We have faced an onslaught of attacks, bullying and harassment by the government. It has been completely systematic." And the truth is, you've done that because Amnesty continued to report on what you were doing in Kashmir. That is the continued detention of hundreds and hundreds of people in Kashmir ever since you revoked their special autonomy status. Many of those people have not been released. The human rights abuses continue. Also, Amnesty pointed out that you have utterly failed to bring to justice the police who were involved in aiding and abetting the violence committed in riots in February of this year. Amnesty catalogues all of that. You then freeze their accounts and you close them down. The question again is, what are you so scared of?
In our country, we are a very transparent country. You've got a big bureau in Delhi. Ask your people, do they face any such difficulties? There are a number of newspapers, foreign, that's not how it works. We are a very open country. You know that very well. The question is, Amnesty, if they had any problem with the tax authorities, they should have gone to court. Companies, Vodafone, a British company, they faced some tax problems. They had gone to court. They won the case against the government of India. If you have any problem, they should have gone to the court and basically, explain their case to the court, ask for the justice in the court, because our courts are among the best you can find on the planet. That's how it works. Now, in terms of, reporting and all that, People are reporting what's happening in different parts of the country. Yes, in Kashmir there are some challenges, but those challenges, those reports are coming out of the media, Indian newspaper, foreign newspaper, and all that. That's how it works. Yes, there are challenges. We also know that who the forces that are behind. There is a country called Islamic Republic of Pakistan. That they are the one behind all this. We are fighting with terrorism, and we expect that all democracies, all democratic countries, to support countries that are at the receiving end of the state-sponsored terrorism. The Kashmir you are referring to, you are basically referring to state-sponsored terrorism by a country called Islamic Republic of Pakistan. You've got an office in Islamabad. Get these facts checked, and if I am wrong, I'll withdraw my words. If Pakistan is not involved in Kashmir, if it's not a state supported by Pakistan, I'll take my words back. Ask your bureau there, and they will share the facts with you. Let's go by cold facts, not rhetoric.
In the course of that answer, Mr. Taneja, you very successfully managed to put the spotlight and attention on Pakistan. But throughout this interview, I've tried to ask you about the management of the COVID crisis, the economic crisis, and the divisions within your country, the management of all of that, of your Prime Minister, Narendra Modi. And let us end just with a thought about the way in which he continues to push a populist, sectarian message across your country. Were you proud of him? Did you think it reflected good judgment when in the late summer he chose to go to Ayodhya and celebrate the foundation of a new temple on the site of what was, of course, until 1992, one of the most important mosques in all of India, in Ayodhya, which was, of course, destroyed and led to sectarian riots? And this year, in the middle of the COVID pandemic crisis, your Prime Minister chose to celebrate the beginning of the construction of a temple on that site. Were you proud of that?
My dear, no. You said sectarian, populist. I don't buy all this. There is no truth in it. And I'm shocked to hear from this. You said that was the most respected mosque in the country. You are factually incorrect. Please do your homework.
No,
that was a dead mosque.
You're actually misquoting me. I said it was. I did not say it was the most important.
What did you say?
I said it was.
Repeat it.
It was an important.
You said most important.
It was an important.
It was not important
in your country.
It was not important.
It was destroyed.
It was not an important mosque in the country.
Destroyed in 1992.
Let me correct you. It was demolished in 1990. Here you are factually right. But to say that was the most important mosque in the country, that's not true. Ayodhya is a very small town. It was a local mosque, and they stopped actually perform prayers there long time ago. Long time ago. So please let's when it comes to the facts, it used to be a mosque. It was not an important mosque. It was highly politicized, and after that, that what happened there, matter went to the court, and the temple, Lord Rama, and to Hindus of India, there's 1 billion Hindus on the planet. Lord Rama is the same as Jesus Christ to Christians, or Prophet Muhammad to Muslims. That's a very, very important place. Don't ignore that.
Mr.
Hindus
Taneja,
wanted temple there, and by the way, majority of Muslims wanted temple there. Majority of Indian Muslims wanted temple there.
Mr. Taneja,
majority of Muslims, 99% of Indian Muslims.
If you would, we have to end. If you would just address this thought. India is in a very deep crisis right now. What Mr. Modi appears to be intent on doing is exacerbating communal division, pursuing his populist, Hindutva nationalist message. Is that really in the interests of your country?
Well, you see, first of all, this is your view. You are an independent person. You are entitled to your view, but there is no truth in it. The fact is that India is a vibrant democracy. India is home to 200 million Muslims, 30 million Christians. We are number 1 majority Hindu, number 2 majority, largest majority is Muslim, number 3 is Christians. We want to build in India a prosperous country where Hindus, Muslims, Christians, we are all going to live together. All your ideas that you have about India are not right. You are welcome. Please come and see the country, and come back after 10 years, and you will realize all that you have formed the opinion about India is that that opinion is not correct.
We shall both revisit this over the next few years, but for now
you are welcome.
I must stop you, and thank you very much for being on Hard Talk. Narendra Taneja, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.